Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lucha Rewatch. It's Lucha Rewatch Season 2, Episode 13, the final episode of Lucha Rewatch Season 2. And guys, it's today. It's happening. Today is the day that Lucha Underground Season 3 returns to our television sets. Finally, Lucha Underground is back, and tonight at 8 p.m. we will be live reacting to that, but we've got two other pieces of content that we are going to be putting out for you between now and then, including this video right here, Lucha Underground Rewatch Season 2, Episode 13. John, we watched episodes 25 and 26 of Lucha Underground Season 2, and it was Ultima Lucha, those parts 2 and 3. What did you think, brother?
I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. I thought there were some great matches. You know, it's interesting looking at Ultima Lucha Dos again from the perspective of knowing a good bit of what's happened thus far in Season 3, which, to your point, resumes tonight. It's going to be amazing. So, yeah, I think I have a whole new appreciation for this show in hindsight, but I don't want to waste any time. I'm ready to talk about this when you are, because there's some good shit in here.
All right, well, before we actually get into our discussion, I want everybody to check out the description. We've got a playlist for our Lucha Underground Season 1 reviews, Season 1 rewatch, Season 2 reviews, Season 2 live reactions, and the current playlist for Lucha Underground Rewatch Season 2 that we're doing right now and finishing up right now. And then, of course, all of our links in the description as far as how you can support us, Patreon, Teespring, or follow us on social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or Reddit. And now, John, let's get right into this thing. We open episode 25, as usual, with a recap, but we only have two storylines that need recapping on this show because we only have two matches on this show. So we get a recap of the Gift of the Gods and how the medallions were dispersed, and then we get a recap of the Mil Cuerno storyline, and then we get right into our first match of the night, the Gift of the Gods 7-way elimination match.
Yeah, dude, what did you think of this match?
This was a great match, man. This was a lot of fun. I think it was kind of the opposite of 6 to Survive to me, because to me, with 6 to Survive, it got better as people got eliminated. Like, each person that got eliminated, it's like the fewer people that were in the match, the better the match got. It's like we were whittling it down almost as if to trim the fat and kind of get down to the most interesting matchups. Like the final 3, it was Mundo, Pentagon, and Phoenix, and that was amazing. And then even though Mundo is great, when it got down to Pentagon and Phoenix, it got even better between just those two because they have incredible chemistry. They're literal brothers, IRL. So that was great. The more people got eliminated. But with this, I feel like this started hot and kind of cooled off as it went a little bit.
Yeah, I could totally understand that because I think you start, right, with this insanely, like, fast tempo, like, everybody's doing something at once.
Like, the bell rings and immediately Killshot kills Marty. Sexy and Marty supposed to go at it. All 4 of those people get thrown out of the ring, and it comes down to Daga, Siniestro de la Muerte, and Nightclaw. And then Nightclaw does his thing. Nightclaw had the first 2 eliminations in this match.
Yeah, dude, I love Nightclaw in this. Like, if this match did anything, it just made my heart break even more of the issues that he would run into because I want to see more of him. I don't know if we ever will. I'm hoping we will. I believe in the power of Lucha Underground to make the impossible possible. But, like, he had not just great match moments, but also, like, a great character moment because at first it perplexed me. There was a point where Daga had Marty in a guillotine, and yet Nightclaw did like a light drop off the top to break it up. And I'm like, well, why would he break it up if, you know, it's like it's an elimination style, it's not one fall or submission to the finish. But then you think about the cinematic where we were introduced to him, and Cueto warned about, oh, well, you're very confident, but make sure that confidence has become arrogance. Like, he knew this was his debut. He wanted all the focus to be on him. He wanted to do everything. And I think he really communicated that through his every, like, single action in this match. So, yeah, really cool, dude.
Yeah, unfortunately, the guy playing Nightclaw here, more well-known in the world of wrestling as Flamita, And I believe he's also the second Octagon Junior after the guy that we know now as Kalisto, or who was Samurai del Sol. Yeah, he left AAA. I don't know if he's going to be back in Lucha Underground ever, but here's to hoping, because they haven't killed him off, so you never know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If he hasn't definitively been wiped off the face of the earth, there's always that glimmer of hope he could be brought back in. And man, I hope he is, because I just want to see more of it. I thought he had some great highlights. I mean, that Phoenix splash to Daga's face. And I love how Matt Striker said it too. To the face.
Yeah.
That was great. The moonsault off the building. It's like, really, to me, it's almost like Nightclaw. Matt Striker even joked that he watched some episodes of Lucha Underground. He was like checking off all the boxes. Okay, get an elimination? Check. Do this really insane spot? Check. Look awesome while doing it? Check. And yeah, it's just, I really thought for the time he had, you want to talk about maximizing your minutes? I feel like Nightclaw followed that advice to the letter, man. Great stuff.
Definitely, man. Yeah, Nightclaw did a really good job. This was a really strong debut. Obviously, he didn't win the match because, like I said, he got the first 2 eliminations, but then he immediately did get eliminated. He was the 3rd person eliminated in this, but he looked really strong while he was out there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. But then to your point, we know that Killshot does eliminate Nightclaw with the kill shot, you know, that kind of a one-winged angel type maneuver. And yeah, that gets the pin there. And we said Nightclaw.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. Do they actually call that move the kill shot in Lucha Underground? I don't think they do.
I mean, dude, because I thought you said at one point that they did, and I've just never really been clear on that myself. But
I don't know. Yeah. I know it as the JML driver. That's what he calls it as Shane Strickland, but I don't know what he calls it as kill shot, because I think Matt Striker called it like some kind of a something cradle driver or something like that. He didn't actually call it the kill shot here.
Right. So yeah, that's how Nightclaw gets eliminated, because Nightclaw, didn't he eliminate both Daga and
Siniestro?
Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, those two. Yeah. Then we were down to what would it be? Four people?
Then we got down. It was Killshot, the Martinez brother and sister, and then Sexy Star. And obviously, since we ended up, our final 3 ended up being Marty and Mariposa and Sexy Star. By process of elimination, you know Killshot was the next person to be eliminated. He was actually eliminated by a double team from the Moth Tribe, because it was a curb stomp from Marty, and then Mariposa hit him with the butterfly effect, and you know nobody kicks out of the butterfly effect.
Certainly not, yeah. Killshot was taken out. And then, you know, again, this is already like part of that hindsight I was talking about, because, I mean, yeah, I had my personal pick, like, going into this, who I wanted to win. I believe that was, you know, Marty at the time, but I think there was some great storytelling here. It starts where, you know, they're really ganging up on Sexy. She's got a battle back, you know, from the ground up, which is, you know, essentially her character. That's the very essence of who Sexy Star is. And then Marty is preparing his fist, but Sexy Star gets out of the way, and he clocks Mariposa. I mean, just lays her out. And yeah, Sexy Star gets the pin there, eliminates Mariposa. And man, can I just say, I mean, look, because you know I've been a supporter, you know, barring certain circumstances, of course, but on the whole, I've been a supporter of Sexy Star for a long time, you know, in the history of this program. Can I just take a second, though, to just say again how freaking amazing Marty is? Because watching this again, dude, his mannerisms are so on point. Because if the Sexy Star character is one that, like, oh, I survived abuse, I contemplated suicide, this mask gave me strength, who better to personify those nightmares and that struggle than a guy like Marty? Because there was a point in this match where he does get that punch that he accidentally hit Mariposa with on Sexy, and he, like, gets down on his knees, and the way he just initiates the cover, I don't know what, just skeeved me out. I'm like, man, he just gets it, man. He was, like, playing it up so good. He really is one of the best performers Lucha Underground has. I will never stop praising that, man. That is quality heel work right there. And yeah, I really enjoyed, like, the final exchange between these two. What did you think about all of it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, here's my thing. I really noticed when it came down to the final 3 how much, not just Marty, but especially Mariposa, had to slow down to work with Sexy Star.
Right.
Like, I don't want to go full blown. It was embarrassing, but it was not good. It felt way more contrived, forced, rehearsed than anything else that we've seen on Lucha Underground in a while.
See, and it's funny you look at it, though. I mean, I could be sympathetic to that view, but I thought it was more bringing the stories full circle. Like, oh, Sexy has always been kind of our plaything, you know, so let's just slow down and let's really enjoy this.
No, but I don't even necessarily mean it that way. I mean, Mariposa, like when Sexy Star knocked Marty out with that big tornado DDT, like she did the thing where she had Marty in DDT position and she like jumped and then kicked Mariposa in the face and then dropped Marty with the DDT. And then as Mariposa was recovering, we got it like an exchange between her and Sexy Star, and it just felt so over the top, like deliberate almost. Like it felt like Mariposa it felt like she was intentionally wrestling slower for the sake of Sexy Star being able to keep up with her to me.
Yeah. I could see where you're coming from, dude.
And it didn't necessarily feel like, oh, wow, this psychological warfare that's going on right now, Mariposa is just toying with Sexy Star. It didn't feel like that. It felt like Mariposa was sort of desperate to win, but she was winded, and she was over the slot winded.
Yeah. I could see where you're coming from, for sure. And, you know, unfortunately, because I do remember when we first watched this, I was so into the thought of Marty winning, which actually, you know what, just gets me more excited for when he finally does get his big break, whenever that is. Because, like, I never expected to become this big of a Marty fan when he first showed up. But, yeah, he's definitely in my top 5, and I think he legitimately was when we did that video, our 5 Fave 5. But Sexy Star, unfortunately, made him tap out. But, again, for the narrative, it made sense, and I can appreciate the story coming full circle. Sexy Star is Gift of the Gods champion. And, yeah, solid match. But I agree with your sentiments at the very beginning. This is kind of the inverse of 6 to Survive, where 6 to Survive, it seemed to kind of really pick up with each elimination. This definitely had more of a cool down effect. So good stuff all the same.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. My whole thing is that I really wanted to go into this and be like, man, now in hindsight, I like that Sexy Star won this even more, but I can't say that. I wish I could say that, but I can't, because my biggest problem initially was that I felt like Sexy Star had really cooled off in between the No Mas match and this match, and with the rewatch, I know why now.
Okay.
Let me just explain for a second, because Sexy Star, the No Mas match, that was like, okay, this iron is white hot right now. We need to strike. And then I think it might have even been the next week that we had a Gift of the Gods match, and she didn't win it. Cage storyline.
Right. Okay. So I think what you're essentially saying is, like, yeah, Sexy winning Gift of the Gods is like fine, but you just feel like it came a little late because, you know, she already kind of had a cool down from No Mas. Yeah, I could understand that. I think, yeah, when you know you've got something hot, you need to strike on it now, because especially with the climate today of wrestling fans, and hell, I'm just as much part of it as anybody, you never know when today is like, oh, yeah, I love this guy, is tomorrow's, meh, I could take it or leave it. So you got to seize it while you got it, so.
Well, yeah, because to me, like, yes, it was episode 15 was the No Mas match, right? And that was great, and it was amazing, and that was the point where, like, I feel like Sexy Star peaked at that point, right?
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
Yeah, but then 2 episodes later, we had the Gift of the Gods championship match, and Sexy Star won her entry into that match. She won the medallion that got her into that match in the first place with the No Mas match.
Right.
And that was like, that to me, as much as I did enjoy the little Chavo Cage interaction, but more so the Cage Matanza match, I feel like from a storytelling perspective, from a timing perspective, Sexy Star should have won the first Gift of the Gods. Like, well, I guess technically it was the second on the grand scheme of things, but the first one in season 2, the one that happened on episode 17.
Right.
And even if they would have preferred to have her win on Ultima Lucha to give her that big Ultima Lucha moment, then they should have waited until after that first Gift of the Gods to have her beat Mariposa in No Mas so that she could maintain her momentum going into Ultima Lucha.
Right. So you just think if they would have shuffled things around and maybe even put some stuff off and done it later, like if things just would have been done differently with everything they had set out, would have had a greater effect. And that's certainly understandable.
I think my biggest problem isn't even necessarily like, oh, they waited too long. It's more along the lines that there was a Gift of the Gods match in between Sexy Star winning No Mas and Sexy Star winning the Gift of the Gods. And Sexy Star didn't win that match, and it really cooled her off in my eyes. And really the only thing that she's done in season 2 since that Gift of the Gods match that she didn't win was the tag team match to get into this second Gift of the Gods match. And that tag team match was so weird, and I even had a problem with it on the rewatch because Sexy and Mariposa got along until, like, randomly out of nowhere, Mariposa just started throwing Sexy Star to the ground.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess you could also argue, like, well, Sexy Star reclaimed her assertiveness, her independence. What's with Mariposa throwing her around? But, they did get the medallions that way, and then we end up back here with Sexy Star winning. But, yeah, I could see what you're saying. All things considered, though,
it's one of those things where I feel like Sexy Star lost momentum, and then the Sexy Star versus the Moth Tribe storyline cooled off quite a bit. And then here we are back to like, oh, well, now she has to overcome both of them. This is this big deal. And it could have been a big deal if not for the whole recency biased factor.
Right.
Because it's like, what have you done for me lately? Like, what reason do I have to be invested in Sexy Star versus the Moth Tribe when I feel like this feud ended like 2 months ago?
Yeah, I can totally understand where you're coming from for sure.
So I don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Sexy Star's chase to the world title in season 3 and the result at the end of said chase even better. But I feel like it would have been that much more impactful if her Gift of the Gods win was sandwiched closer to her No Mas victory.
Yeah.
Without having another Gift of the Gods match that she didn't win in between those two matches.
Right. I'd say very solid points all around. Not really much I can add to what you've already articulated. So with that said, Sexy Star does win. Yep. Let's move on. What came after this?
God, man. Well, I was ready to say King Cuerno versus Mil Muertes, but that did not happen right away because we got a Mr. Cisco kind of catch-up. And he's saying, he can't do this. And then Joey Ryan's like, oh, but you're going to have to. And then Cisco, he's telling him about how, oh, you got to do this unless you want to go back to prison. Cisco's worried. He's talking about, oh, what if he kills me? And Cortez Caster's just like, he's not going to kill you. You do this, and you're cleared of all charges.
Love the delivery on that, too, because that's exactly how he sounded. Like, man, this is easy. But yeah, great. I mean, this is a great cinematic. Not as great as what we would get later on, but we'll get to that. But yeah, this just really set up. It's going down, man. Cisco's going to infiltrate tonight. So yeah, we'll see how it all goes. But what came after this?
Up next, we did get our second match of the night. King Cuerno, Mil Muertes, death match.
Oh my God. Death match indeed.
I'm just going to sit back and let you talk, and then I'll give my opinion after you're done.
Yeah, dude, I mean, this match was great. You can't go wrong with two guys that are as good as Mil Muertes and King Cuerno are. But really, let's be honest here. Everybody's going to remember this match for the final few minutes of it. And really, I feel like Muertes was pretty much dominant throughout. I mean, yeah, Cuerno did some great stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like, he set up a ladder at one point. He dropped, Mill into it. He was able to utilize some weapons. I remember a trash can, being used against him. And they definitely used their environment. Mill stepping on Cuerno's hands while he's standing atop where the band is and he's posing. Like, Mill was such a fucking beast in it. And yet Cuerno made that mistake. He made that fatal mistake of putting his hands on Katrina's throat. And, we always see the memes or the conversations or whatever about the possessive boyfriend or this person or that person. I mean, I think Mil Muertes has them all beat, because the moment he saw that, I mean, his eyes are already red, so I'd imagine he sees red quite a bit. But god damn, did he murder King Cuerno here. Speared him through the one table and then goes around the world power bombing Cuerno through each table. And then, just to really put the icing on the cake, gets his broken ass back in the ring, gets a crowbar, goes to the top rope, hits him in the back of the head with it. I think he hit him with the flatliner on top of that, and then you could count to 100. It was over. Cuerno was dead. I was even thinking in my mind that whole Simpsons scene where Homer is being Krusty the Clown for the kids, and he beats up the Krusty burglar, and the kids crying, "Stop! Stop! He's already dead!" Like that was King Cuerno. That was the beating that Mil Muertes imparted to King Cuerno. And then after the match, Katrina does the lick of death. We see Cuerno stretchered out, and we have not seen him since, which is both great narratively, because holy fuck, you don't want to mess with Mil Muertes, but on a more like non-kayfabe level, it's tragic because, and I know I say this about a lot of people because I just love the whole fucking locker room, but again, I think King Cuerno is like an invaluable asset to that temple, one of the best performers it has. And he just got taken out big time by Mil Muertes. This match was great. I mean, this match was honestly quintessential Lucha Underground to me. Violence! And, just such a strong finish to boot. I loved it. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, dude, this was so good. And I did want to just make a quick correction. He did the spear and then the power bombs and then the crowbar. He never used the flatliner, though. He ended up winning with a tombstone pile driver.
Oh, that's right. Jesus. Because, I remember now. We marked the hell out the first time seeing it. And then, I blanked there given all the brutality that Mil Muertes inflicted. But you're right.
Dude, it's just so funny to me, though, that you said, well, people are going to remember this for the final minutes, the finish. And then you got that detail wrong. And prior to us rewatching this, I completely forgot about the crowbar spot too. So you're right that this is going to be remembered for the finish, but really all I remembered was the power bombs. The power bombs through the tables was the part that I am always going to remember this for. And now, obviously, having watched it a second or third time or however many times it is, I'm going to remember it for that whole sequence with, Cuerno grabbing Katrina by the throat, the run up the steps into the spear through the table, the power bombs through the tables, the crowbar, the tombstone, and of course the paramedics. Because yes, people, King Cuerno is dead, ripping pepperonis.
And dude, I gotta say, because I know oftentimes I will tease and get on WWE for their little stretcher spots and like, oh yeah, get that guy a neck break. No, for Cuerno, it was entirely warranted. I'm like, that man is dead. That man is like
we make fun of the stretcher spot because of how overplayed it is in WWE, but this is, I think, the first time we've ever seen a stretcher. Or no, it's the second. It's the second. No, it is the first. It's the first time we've ever seen a stretcher. Unless, did we get a stretcher for Pentagon when Matanza broke his back?
Oh, dude, we got a full-blown ambulance, did Pentagon, so yeah.
Okay, so this is the second time. The second time that we've gotten a stretcher. Oh my God, Pentagon. The second time that we've gotten a stretcher in Lucha Underground. And that's over, I think that's over like 60, 70, 65 episodes. This was on episode 64. And it was only the second time that we had seen a stretcher in Lucha Underground. And then we got another stretcher spot in season 3 with Rey Mysterio, and that was great too. And by the way, notice a trend here. The people that put people on stretchers are Matanza and Mil Muertes consistently.
Yeah, I mean, but see, these are the people. I mean, one is a god that eats face, and then the other is just like this undead fucking monstrosity. Like, yeah, get stretchers for everyone. Who gets stretchers at WWE? Oh, Charlotte asserting my dominance. Like, no.
Oh my god.
No. I'm sorry, dude. It was hilarious when you said it, and I am never letting it go ever. Let me have this. But yeah, no, it's like with Lucha Underground. Yeah, you're damn right. These people are gonna put you on stretchers. Look at them. Look at them. They're the reason life insurance is a thing. Oh my god. Yeah, Cuerno just got eviscerated, but it was.
Oh yeah. Fun. Oh yeah, that's right. Hypothesis in chat reminded me. There was another. This is actually the third time we saw a stretcher in Lucha Underground, because Vampiro was almost taken out on a stretcher at Ultima Lucha, the first one, when they did the old, oh, we're going to take you out on a stretcher, and then he beats up the EMTs to get back in the match.
Yeah.
In that Cero Miedo match?
Yeah. Oh, man.
So this is the third time, but like, so, okay, so it's the three, like the big three of the big four of Lucha Underground. Because to me, the big four are Cage, Mill, Matanza, and Pentagon. And three of those guys have put people on stretchers already.
Yeah. Jesus.
And now Cage is Lucha Thanos, so it's only a matter of time before he does it too.
Oh my god, the lawsuits and the medical bills. Oh my god, yeah.
Man, I mean, Cueto thinks it's hard running an underground fight club. I can't even imagine the medical bills that he's got to pay out.
Oh, brother, it's freaking nuts.
But wait, guys, they're independent contractors, so he isn't liable for damages.
Hooray!
No workman's comp here.
But so we know that Mill is dominant, and brother, what comes after this?
Yeah. So after this, we got Matt Stryker kind of going over the card for the following episode, for episode 26. And he does talk about Pentagon and Vampiro and their relationship. And Vamp dumps his pills into the trash. And he says, "You call me a master, time to go get my student ready." And then he walks off.
Ooh. And then Stryker assures everybody you're not going to want to miss next week, and he signs off. But then, do we get my personal favorite cinematic in Lucha Underground? Cisco goes deep undercover. So he goes into Cueto's office. You know what? I'm just gonna laugh all the way through. You go first. You talk about this cinematic and how it made you feel.
All right, guys. Here we go. Okay, so Mr. Cisco enters Dario Cueto's office, and he asks him, "Hey, boss, how's it going? How you doing?" And Cueto's just like, "I'm fine. Get out." And Cisco's just like, "Well, no, man. We used to be tight. We used to be bros. We used to be boys." And Cueto's just like, "Boys? What are you talking about?" And Cisco's just like, "Look, man, all I'm saying is, whatever you're doing, I want in. I'm a loyal soldier." And Cueto's why would I need a soldier? What are you talking about? And Cisco, again, kind of repeats himself. He says, "Whatever you got going on, count me in." And then Cueto kind of gets up in his face, and he's kind of curious about him. And I think John might have just fallen off his chair. And he says, eventually he gets around to asking Mr. Cisco, "Do you have a wire on you?" And Cisco says, "What?" And Cueto says, "I need you to unbutton your shirt." And he goes, "What? No, I think I should leave." And Cueto says, "No, take off your, unbutton your shirt." And Cisco takes off the top button to reveal a mic, which is, I mean, really, to me, if you're going to put a freaking wire on somebody, try harder to hide the thing. Like, that was, if his collar would have dropped a little bit, you would have seen the thing. So then Cueto sees the mic, and he grabs it, and he pulls it to his face, and he says, to the police or whoever's listening in on this, "Come get me." And then he kind of backs off a little bit, and he says, "So what do they want me for? Murder?" And Cisco goes, "I don't think so." And then Cueto, as he's kind of stroking this Red Bull on his desk, says, and I quote, "They do now." And then he hits Cisco with the thing and kills him brutally.
Oh my god! You forgot the best part though, because the sweetest, the most delectable part of any person dying are their last words. And what eloquence did Cisco leave us with? What? Bam! Bull right in the skull! Bull right in the skull! Down goes Cisco! Down goes Cisco!
And now everybody knows, who didn't know about this already, everybody who hasn't known about this prior, that's been following us along, is now aware why I've been saying all season, Red Bull gives you wings.
Yes! Yes! Oh my god, what a dumbass. I mean, okay, now I'm together enough to give my thoughts. Oh, by the way, Cueto makes a phone call after this with the bull sticky with Cisco's blood and says on the other end, it's time. So, we'll find out what that's about a bit later. But yeah, I mean, how stupid are you, bruh? Like, what even, like, he was sweating like a pig through the whole thing. Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying, we used to be, like, could you telegraph it any harder? Like, all I'm saying is, whatever you got going on, because that's not suspicious, I'm in.
I love when he doubles down on it, too, because then he's got the first one, he says, "Whatever you're doing, I want in. I'm a loyal soldier." And then Cueto gets suspicious, and you would think Cisco is like, "Oh shit, he's suspicious. I should back off." But then he literally does it again. He says, "Whatever you got going on, count me in."
Yeah, dude, the way he says it too, and the way you and I have imitated it, like, way to be a fucking ham. Like, hey, whatever you got going on, I'm in. Like, what? And Cueto's even looking.
He might as well have just walked up to Cueto and said, "Hey, Dario, I'm totally not wired right now. How are you?"
Wow, Dario. I'm not wearing a wire. You want to talk, though? We used to be so close, So close.
Remember when we used to share each other's secrets? I have a secret. Why don't you tell me yours?
Remember when I used to break kneecaps of people that were bothering you and you would pay me? Man, good times, man. Good times. Like,
remember that time that you had your brother kill Mail? Man, those are good times.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Like, boss, I'll tell you what, this is really bad. I'm still a bit shaken up. Me having to hold bail while your brother ate his face. Do you want to talk about that? And then maybe just Cueto retells the story of his childhood. But yeah, like, Cisco was the worst person to put a wire on. As you've noted multiple times at this point, that wire placement was atrocious. Like, obviously I laugh at the misfortunes of others, to which I will make no apology ever. But Cisco deserved to die. Like that, I'm sorry. It happened. It's over. Maybe live better next time. Oh, wait, there won't be a next time because you're dead. So, yeah, this cinematic was amazing. I love it. I adore it. It's everything. It's my sustenance. And that concludes part 2 of Ultima Lucha Dos. So if you want, we can get right into part 3, brother.
All right. Well, we open up with a big recap. We're talking like 2+ minutes worth of recap. They go over Vampiro, Ivelisse and Katrina, the Lucha Super Friends, El Dragon Azteca, Rey and EDA Jr., Matanza with his debut, the formation of Worldwide Underground, Pentagon with Vampiro, Dragon Azteca Jr. with Black Lotus, Ivelisse and Taya, Pentagon, Puma, Rey, everything. They go over it all. They give you a really strong recap. And then we see this crazy, awesome cinematic segment in, like, the Cave of Darkness, or whatever the hell you want to call it, where Vampiro tells Pentagon that he's earned the right to face Matanza at Ultima Lucha, but is he ready? And Pentagon, of course, says, "Sí, maestro." And Vamp says, "No, you have to destroy the man who was broken by Matanza in the first place. And then he sends him into this cave, and Penta does this goofy ass, like, over the top Cero Miedo pose, like it somehow charges him up and makes him more powerful and prepares him for battle. And then he ends up fighting a bunch of like clones of Pentagon. And he also ends up, oh, surprise, surprise, Vampiro's in the cave as well, wearing a Pentagon Jr. mask. So Vamp tells Pentagon, you say you've got Cero Miedo, but you're still scared. And then, there's this exchange, and Pentagon ends up ripping the mask off of Vampiro. Vampiro says, you're ready. But then we also see afterwards that there's this candle, and he says the candle here, was lit by Pentagon Jr., so you need to extinguish it so that Pentagon Dark can take his place.
Yes. I love when Lucha Underground does these extended cinematics. They opened the season with one, with Ian in psychiatric care. I thought that was superbly done, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I still love the visual of all of those Pentagons in the cave, and just Pentagon having to really overcome himself and to become stronger and to go to that darker place. And it's actually kind of a full circle thing if you think about it, because what was the tone that we said at the beginning of the second season? It's a much darker place. That's exactly where Pentagon has to go to become stronger. So I just find all of that very interesting. And he does finally overcome, taking the mask off Vampiro. Vampiro does tell him, you're ready. And, this is the birthing, the death of Pentagon Jr., but the birth of something else altogether. And we'll see that new force later tonight, and we'll get into it. But for now, I thoroughly enjoyed this cinematic.
Pentagon Dark!
Exactly. Good stuff. So what
a lot of people compare this scene to the evil cave scene from Empire Strikes Back too.
See, and I'm not familiar with that because I'm not big on Star Wars at all, but I'll just say I'll take
not
your
yet.
word for it.
You will be. Not yet, but you will be.
Maybe. Let's not get too gung-ho about that, huh? But what came after this?
Why don't you tell everybody how much you used to love Harry Potter before you actually watched it?
Yeah, that happened, but lightning doesn't always strike twice, bruh. But anyway, what came after the cinematic?
After the cinematic, we get right into our first match of the night, which is the Trios Championship match. The Lucha Super Friends, Phoenix, Drago, and Aerostar versus Worldwide Underground. Sadly, without Taya at ringside.
Yes, because she's preparing for her own match against the baddest bitch in the building. That's me. Evilise. So we have this opener. What'd you think about this match?
This was so much fun, dude. Oh, my God. This match was crazy, just all over the place. And if it wasn't chaotic enough already, Angelico had his big return here, and it actually cost Worldwide Underground the titles.
That worthless fucking string bean.
Dude, the worst part is we haven't seen him at all in Season 3 because we found out that after this show was over, Worldwide Underground ganged up on him and slammed his leg into a car door.
I'd say that's just desserts for his ineptitude. I think he got exactly what he deserved. And to be honest, I still jack off to it every now and again.
Oh
it's
my God, really?
But more importantly than that, I just love watching Johnny Mundo. And more importantly, like, Worldwide Underground compete in multi-person tag matches. It's funny. I remember once reading an interview with Johnny Mundo where he said, like, if he's working tag matches, he's thinking about working singles matches, and when he's working singles matches, he's thinking about working tag matches. But the great thing when you're Johnny Mundo is, no matter what match you're competing in, you put your back into everything, which is why you're amazing. But yeah, just so much fun. I love how Lucha Underground does trios matches. It's always chaos. It's always high energy. And you know what? I love that they can embrace, like, the absurdity of it all. Because again, like, going back to WWE, there are times where they, like, do ref bumps, and it's so over the top and whatever. And I kind of roll my eyes, and I'm like, oh, we're really doing this? But with Lucha Underground, like, that kind of chaos is the norm, right? They let you know straight away, this is what you can expect. So it's not really much of a deviation where we see just everything kind of break down. And that whole spot where they're strumming the belts together like guitars, and then they come together to clock Phoenix, that was a great visual. Their triple team finisher where it's like, sweep the leg, Johnny, and it's the whole crucifix and goes around the legs and slams him down. That's so cool. I mean, I just love how these guys operate, man. It's so freaking good. They've got it down to a science. Unfortunately, though, they didn't account for that one extreme variable on Helico coming in and ruining everything with his crutch. But, that pretty much cost them the Trios Championships, because then Aerostar and Drago took out PJ Black and Jag Evans, and then Phoenix finished off Johnny Mundo. I want to say it was like a springboard 450, if I remember correctly, that got him. And, just a crazy match. Great spots all around, great energy. But we do have new Trios champions, Drago, Aerostar, and Phoenix. So already, first match of night 3, we've got ourselves a title change, partner, and Phoenix becomes the first ever Triple Crown champion.
Yeah, and that's also, and it's only fitting then that he was the one that got the final pinfall, because he hit his Fire Thunder driver on Mundo, and that won the match for him.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Fire Thunder driver, bam. And it was painful to watch those perfect abs falling to such mediocrity. But I guess it happens to the best of us. So, new Trios
your
champions.
Abs can't protect your skull.
Unfortunately not. But, new Trios champions. Really fun
I mean, to be
match.
fair, if anyone's abs were capable of protecting their skull, it would be Johnny Mundo's, but I think this proved that not even his abs are capable of such a feat.
Give it time. Give it time. But, in the meantime, new Trios champions. And the crazy thing is, I mean, going into season 3, not much of a spoiler. I mean, these guys are still Trios champions. So, this reign all began here. And just really cool.
They're on borrowed time, though. The Serpent Tribe is coming.
Indeed they are, my friend. Indeed they are. But in the meantime, they are staved off for today, mainly because they didn't even really exist then. And what came after this match?
El Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Black Lotus.
Oh my God, this. Okay. All right, you give your thoughts. What do you think about this?
Dude, honestly, I really noticed this time around that they did a really good job of protecting Black Lotus in this match, because she really did not do much. The one thing that she did that caught me by attention was the bump that she took when Dragon Azteca whipped her into the guardrail.
Right.
Like, that was the only moment in this match that I was like, wow, I'm impressed with that from Black Lotus. Because everything else was like El Dragon Azteca swinging and missing, and her just ducking and like avoiding moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seemed like she got some Inzagiri type move on the outside when El Dragon Azteca did that sick dive where he landed on his feet.
On his feet, yes!
I was like, holy fucking shit, what even are you even?
He did like a parkour move too, because he, like, rather than like sticking the landing and potentially risking an injury to his knees or ankles, he kind of like touched his feet on the ground and then rolled forward.
Yeah. The moment he did that, I'm like, okay, I need to see you and Johnny Mundo feud now. Like, dude,
my God, yes.
I have so many dream feuds for Mundo yet, even given his present circumstances, it's ridiculous. Like, there are still so many people he has to work with yet for me to be fully satisfied. And El Dragon Azteca is definitely one of them. The guy's insane. And I'm telling you, because we've already talked about it before, so I don't even really regard it as much of like spoiler talk or whatever, because we've talked about Prince Puma / Ricochet already on here. That has to be the guy to take the mantle when he ups and leaves, whenever that is, because my God, that athleticism, Jesus.
And you know what? They chose well, because even though, like, I think he and Puma are right around the same age, like in that like late 20s, early 30s kind of area.
Right.
I still, you know, I don't know if Azteca Jr. is as athletic from like an explosiveness standpoint as Puma, but he's definitely as agile as him and as quick as him.
Yeah, for sure, dude. For fucking sure. It's
like, if we were to hold, I honestly wish this would happen, but if we were to hold like a pro wrestler's combine where they do like the 40-yard dash and the vert and the broad and the agility drills and all that shit, I feel like Azteca would probably like lead the entire class in agility. Like the 3-cone drill, the short shuttle, the stuff that measures like
Right.
flexibility and quickness. I think El Dragon Azteca Jr. would lead everyone in that because he is just so elusive and quick. It's unbelievable. Like Ricochet would probably lead everyone in the explosiveness, like the jumps, and
Right.
like it would be between like him and Neville probably if we did like the whole wrestling world. But like to me, Azteca Jr. has got to be way up there in the quickness.
Oh, dude, abso-freaking-lutely. And, I mean, unfortunately, we couldn't really see much more of that because we got the big interruption. Oh, my God.
Oh my God, Pentagon, what are you doing?
Pentagon Dark laying waste to everyone.
Everyone.
Everyone. Package pile driver. Package pile driver. Package pile driver. Arm break.
Arm break. Arm break.
I mean, god damn, making quick fucking work. All the while, Vampiro's like, yes, let the hate flow through you. So, you know, just great stuff there. Like, when this first happened.
You know what? It's great from a character standpoint for Pentagon, but again, though, unless they were going out of their way to protect Black Lotus for the sake of not having her kind of be exposed as far as a worker goes and just kind of keeping this match short, cutting the match short. Unless that was the goal, unless they felt like Black Lotus kind of might have been an underwhelming as far as like if they would have had like a full 15-minute match here and they wanted to keep it short, and then also they wanted to transition Black Lotus's sort of crosshairs from Azteca Jr. to Pentagon for the Black Lotus thing to happen in season 3. That was the best thing to come out of this. Like, I'm not a big fan of the match getting cut short, but then, like, in hindsight, a combination of A, Black Lotus might not be the best worker, and they were protecting her from having a long match, and B, they were moving her crosshairs from Azteca to Pentagon so that we could get the whole Black Lotus triad versus Pentagon thing in season 3. Worth it.
Yeah, which is still, I think, one of the best episodes in Lucha Underground's history was that whole triad versus Pentagon episode.
Yeah.
And that's the key word, dude. Like, I want to emphasize the word you said again because I said it at the start of this whole review, hindsight. I appreciate so much more of a lot of what they did here given the hindsight of like what we know now in season 3. And yeah, I sure as hell appreciate this because I feel like given all the narratives that we had that kind of got disjointed because of Pentagon's appearance and the narratives that would kind of branch off because of his appearance, you know, it all started here, and I feel like they all had, for the time being, magnificent payoffs whose ripple effects I think we're still feeling to this day, and that's why I'm so excited that it returns tonight so that we can resume this. You know, we can resume this journey. So, yeah, he takes both of them out, and then he more or less cuts a promo talking about, you know, his history in Lucha Underground. You know, right here, last year, he beat his maestro, Vampiro. And
Maestro.
exactly. He said Ian Hodgkinson, you know, is dead, but so is Pentagon Jr. Pentagon Jr. is destroyed. Pentagon Jr. is no more. And all that's left is Pentagon Dark. And I love how he sells it too. Pentagon Dark fears nothing, and Pentagon Dark kicks ass. And, you know, he does zero fear. He says he's going to destroy Matanza tonight. He says he's going to become Lucha Underground champion. So he's fired up. And, you know, yeah, he talked it like, you know, to Vampiro, to the crowd. Vampiro's loving it. And, you know, that kind of segues, dude, into our Lucha Underground championship match. Because Pentagon is just like, I want it now. So we get Pentagon versus Matanza. And I mean, dude, this was a match where really offensively, and maybe this is hyperbole on my part, but I feel like it was 90, maybe even 95% Pentagon.
Pentagon, yeah. It was really a dominant showing from Pentagon, yeah. And it really, he probably would have won if he hadn't gotten overzealous and if Vampiro hadn't gotten greedy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because Pentagon was into the violence that he was inflicting. Dario was freaking the fuck out. He said multiple times, Matanza, wake up. Matanza, wake up. Matanza, remember mother. Remember mother. Like, just anything he could say to get Matanza to react. And Matanza was just so unresponsive, you know, because he was getting the shit beat out of him. And then Vampiro just wanted the icing on the cake, like, oh, Pentagon used this bat, because let's remember, preceding that, Pentagon got the Lucha Destroyer. To me, Matanza was prone, and I felt like if Pentagon Dark was acting on his own volition and Vampiro hadn't gotten involved, he would have broken Matanza's arm, because he was just in that position for that to happen. I mean, Matanza was completely vulnerable, but Vampiro's like, no. Again, let the hate flow through you. Use this bat. And, he goes to, but then Cueto gets involved. Now, see, this is where I will say, because you said with the preceding bout that you didn't like it was cut short, even appreciating what we'd get long term in season 3, and I know you have to make some concessions, I still don't know how I feel about, Matanza, who's this god, who's this tour de force, this unstoppable entity, with Cueto having to come in and just do that shove, which really did protect him. I don't know. I'm still kind of iffy on that to this day. But, Cueto does get in there, shoves Pentagon, gets the bat out of the way, but then Pentagon seems like he's going to break Cueto's arm, which I love that we still really haven't seen Cueto get abused that much. I mean, the most physicality I think he's gotten was when Johnny Mundo punched him in the face in season 1. And Matanza,
that's right. That was in like episode 5, I think. Maybe even earlier than that. No, yeah, that was in the first 9. Yeah, that was early.
Yeah, and I would say that that's the very definition of a morsel. That was just a little bit of what we'd like to see happen to Dario. And I like that they tease it out, because here Dario's about to get his arm broken, and then Matanza hits him in the back with the baseball bat. And I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm the only one that chuckled at this. I thought, like, the look on Pentagon's face upon being hit with the bat was hilarious. Just like, he got hit with the bat, he's like, and then, bam, Wrath of the Gods, 3 count. So, yeah, Matanza retains the Lucha Underground Championship after all that. And actually, here's something I want to ask you, bro, to get kind of your voice in on the discussion. Because the Believers, they actively chanted bullshit at this. I think they felt like with Pentagon, like, being so dominant, he went through the rebirth, all the trials, like, this was his time, and yet he still doesn't win the title. Do you think this is another case of not striking while the iron was hot in your eyes?
Yeah, man. I don't know about that, because I feel like this was kind of a weird instance where it felt like this turn to Pentagon Dark, it was almost like a WWE move in a way. And I know that's, that comes off really awful, but it really did kind of feel like they were trying to almost double down on Pentagon's heelish tendencies. And that's something WWE does a lot when they have a heel getting over as a babyface.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it just felt weird to me, because Pentagon, like, he was getting really, really hot, and people freaking love him, and they give him this dark character, and I know for sure that the whole purpose of that was so that they could hold the copyright to his name, because, Pentagon Jr. is more, I think that might either belong to him personally, or it might belong to AAA, which I don't know how the AAA Lucha Underground copyright situation works, but like, Pentagon Dark is a Lucha Underground only character. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
And, like, I get that. So the name change does make sense, because they wanted to get that for, like, licensing and shit like that. But it felt like they were trying to kind of double down on his heel tendencies here. And, like, even though he was this, like, super over good guy, and not even good guy, but, like, chaotic neutral anti-hero, it felt like it could have been the culmination of his story, but now to me, I feel like they put it off to the point that I just hope that when his story actually does culminate, I hope people still care about it enough that it's a big deal, or as big of a deal as it could have been if they would have pulled the trigger here.
Okay, now I don't know about the latter part, like if it'll be as big a deal as it could have been, but I will stand with, not even necessarily Lucha Underground, but with Pentagon Dark's, like, overness and his ability on this point. I do think people will care, absolutely. Especially given what we know in season 3, I think that was kind of like, okay, whenever he decides to strike, like, we're going to be waiting for him, because I really do believe in the adage, no matter how cliche it is, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Hell, I think that actually kind of helped New Day last night, if you want me to be honest, with them finally being on SmackDown Live. And I think with Pentagon Dark, it'll be a similar case. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. It's intriguing to me because on one way, yeah, it does seem like they're doubling down on the heelish tendencies. But then when you see like how Ultima Lucha Dos, at least in ring, ended, and then what Pentagon Dark like did, I don't know. To me, he still exhibited those tendencies of Pentagon like playing to the crowd a little bit. I'll get more into that later, but yeah, this is all very interesting. And then when Vampiro, you know, he does try and help Pentagon Dark up, he shoves him away. He wants nothing to do with him. He blames him for it, which does seem kind of justified. Vampiro did introduce the bat into the match, so yeah, Matanza retains. Fans chanting bullshit, and like, yeah, even to this day, I'm questioning like, oh, should the trigger have been pulled? Because Pentagon really is one of the most adored acts in the temple for the believers, and yeah, I could tell they were hungering. They thought it was time to feast on the idea of him being world champion. Not just yet. So yeah, that was the world title match. Unless you have any concluding remarks, we can move on.
No, man, I don't have any concluding remarks, but man, I gotta tell you, this was weird. This was a different, it's a tough call. It really is. It's tough to say what the right call would have been here. I think that a big reason why a lot of people were disappointed by Ultima Lucha Dos was because Ultima Lucha 1 had so many big cathartic moments in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Ultima Lucha 1, you had, you know, Drago beating Hernandez in that Big Believers Backlash match. You know, you had the trios titles, you know, that whole thing with the Death and Mill beating Puma, like the whole reign of death starting. You know, there were, and then Phoenix, of course, winning the Gift of the Gods. Like, there were a lot more cathartic moments to kind of cap off season 1's Ultima Lucha, and I think people expected for the Ultima Lucha for season 2 to have more of those cathartic moments than it did, because really, like, I feel like the Super Friends beating Worldwide Underground was meant to be a cathartic moment, but it didn't feel as good as it could have because of how much people tend to really kind of be drawn to Worldwide Underground, because they're just so over the top and entertaining that it's hard to root against them the way that maybe Lucha Underground would have wanted people to be rooting against them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And then like on this show, match was Mill getting his big comeuppance on Cuerno, which was great. But Cuerno was kind of meant to be the babyface in that whole thing. So it's hard to feel cathartic about that, too. You had, you know, Azteca and Lotus getting cut short. So really the only other big moment that you had prior to that on this show was the Lucha Super Friends with their big win with Angelico showing up. So really it's like this was supposed to be like this big cathartic moment, because in the last two matches you had Taya Ivelisse, which was cool, but it wasn't really built up to super like crazy. Like this, that wasn't like one of the big matches on the show. And then Puma Ray, there was no level of catharsis for that whatsoever, because there was no bad guy in that. So this really was like, this was the big, like, finally cathartic moment waiting to happen, and they just didn't do it. And even though I don't necessarily think it was a bad decision, I don't know if it was the best decision.
Yeah, you know, it really. I'm so glad you brought all this up, and we will transition to Ivelisse and Taya.
Oh yeah, and by the way, as far as the whole catharsis thing, I mean the Pentagon Vampiro reveal at Ultima Lucha 1 was huge as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do want to get to Taya Ivelisse in just a second, because you did say that those are like the last two matches we have, and then of course the residual stuff we'll have to discuss. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about that. To me, Ultima Lucha Dos is such an intriguing show, because I think it's all a matter of the perspective you take it up with. Because if you were to look at this in a vacuum and say, okay, how is this for a wrestling show? I certainly wouldn't say it's terrible, and I know nobody here is like saying it's terrible, but like, yeah, I'd say decent. Like, I'd say on the whole, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10. But like in conjunction with everything else, again, knowing what happens in season 3, knowing that Ultima Luchados to me was almost like a sacrifice for season 3 narratives, then yeah, I get everything this show was
That's
trying
the thing,
to do.
dude. I am convinced that because season 2 was so much shorter, that the writers said, you know what, we don't feel comfortable pulling all of our storylines to an end. So rather than having this big cathartic Ultima Luchados, we're going to have more of a let's look to the future Ultima Luchados. Because all the stuff that happened at Ultima Luchados wasn't necessarily great standalone, but pretty much all of it led to great things in season 3.
Yeah, if you can appreciate Lucha Underground for a very like immersed kind of universe, a universe with a lot of depth, I think you can look at Ultima Luchados with a new appreciation. Again, as a standalone wrestling show, I'm like, it was good. It was good. There's not really much like I'd write home about, unlike Ultima Lucha 1, where it's like, oh man, Johnny Mundo, you know, he finally beat Patron and Vampiro and Pentagon and Puma and Mil Muertes had one of the matches of the year, like all that stuff. I don't really think there was much of that here. But if you're like, oh man, season 3, I'm loving how these threads are coming together so far, which is, again, a matter of perspective, you could really thank Ultima Luchados for that, in my eyes, because I think it set so much of it in motion. So yeah, to me, perspective is everything. I get all the vantage points coming at us, because I know this is one of those shows, like you mentioned it, and I think everybody that's watched Lucha Underground has an opinion on it. But yeah, for me, I still stand by, like, I have a deeper appreciation because of those facts. But with that said, you did mention Ivelisse and Taya. Let's talk about this match. To me, not really much to say. I liked how these two work together. I can't wait to see them do bigger things, but it was great to see them, you know, add an Ultima Lucha, kind of stage. And Ivelisse was getting ready to put this match away, though, with her Sunset Flip Powerbomb, which I love that that's her finisher. I think that's the perfect finisher for her. I really appreciate it. And then the lights go out. They come back on. Katrina, in what I presume will be her wrestling attire when she finally does get in the ring, appears. Ivelisse is confused as hell because she had the match won, turns around, gets clocked by Katrina, and then Katrina hits her with Roxy Laveau's old finisher, that voodoo drop. You know, that double.
I actually have the proper name for that move, believe it or not.
Okay, which is?
Because I know in FCW she used the same move. She called it the L-bomb, but the technical wrestling name is it was a double underhook sit-out inverted atomic drop.
Okay. I thought her execution of it was perfect. And yeah, lights go out again. Then when they come back on, the ref is back in the ring. He's looking bewildered as hell, like, oh, what the hell just happened? And then Taya hits her finisher, the double, Northern Lights into the double stomp, which she calls Para por favor, which for all of you wondering, hey, what does that mean? Is bitch please. So yeah, Taya gets the win off that, and she has beaten Ivelisse. And then Katrina appears again. I'm surprised Taya wasn't shaken up because the lights go out again right as she's celebrating, and then they come back on. Taya's nowhere to be found. There's Katrina. Death comes for everyone, even you, bitch.
That was great.
Mic drop, lick of death. There it is. And yeah, again, this is another match where it's like, could they have had a barn burner? Absolutely. I feel like these two didn't get like too much time, but again, this is another match sacrificed on the altar of season 3 narratives. And so far, I'd say worth it. But again, everybody's talking about the second half of season 3, which returns tonight.
Yeah, baby.
And I think that's going to be the half, dude, where you and I are going to look at each other and we're going to say, was this a like knock it out of the park season, or did this not live up to the hype? But this was another thing kind of in service of that. Taya wins. Katrina screws Ivelisse again for the second straight year out of an Ultima Lucha win. And Ivelisse is just left lying motionless like, what the hell is happening to my life? So do you have any comments to make about this match?
I don't have any comments, dude. This match is just it was fine. It wasn't exceptional, but it was a lot of fun. Taya is wonderful. Ivelisse is wonderful. Katrina showing up was crazy and awesome. And I love that they pulled off her teleporting effect in the freaking temple with the lights going out and everything. It was just so cool.
Yeah, so well done. I really hope all three of these women, in one way or another, get vindicated, at Ultima Lucha Trace by having like these matches or whatever they're gonna do that make us say like, "Hot damn, that was fucking incredible." But yeah, I think it was all set in motion here. With that said, we move on, and I think before we actually got to our main event, there was a video package highlighting Prince Puma, right? Like a cinematic
Yeah,
going through his history with Conan's kind of voiceover then
yeah, yep,
then
yeah.
transitioning to Puma. I thought it was really well done. Do you have any comments about it?
No, I don't have any real comments, but it was just cool to see. It was cool for Lucha Underground to be like, listen, guys, you already know about Rey Mysterio. You don't need to know that much about him. But just in case you're not familiar with this Puma guy, here's a way to catch up.
Exactly. And dude, you know what? That brings us to our main event. I'm going to let you talk about this because I know Puma is your boy. I know when we watched this the first time, you were adamant, like, oh, Puma better win. Like, I know you were so anti-Ray in this match because you're just like, no, Puma's the best now. And, this guy happened. So
Dude, but again, though, this is another one of those scenarios where I disagreed with Puma losing the night it happened. But then in season 3, when we got Puma's storyline progression, I think it was worth it.
Right, and that's why I wanted to field it to you, though, because I know initially when we first watched this, you more or less were just feeling like it wasn't the right call. Puma should have won this. But now, given what you know, given the trajectories that both of these men have went on in season 3, I mean, do you look at this match with a new appreciation at all?
I do. It's one of those things where I'm not so caught up in the finish of the match anymore, so I can appreciate it for what it is. And to me, what it is really the revival of Rey Mysterio's career. Like, he needed this more than Puma.
Oh, I completely agree because I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a Rey Mysterio mark by any means, but I never hated the guy. I was always in the middle with him. I thought sometimes he can have stellar matches given the right opponent. Other times I really don't care for him. I feel like this is one of the best matches of his career that I've been privy to. And I've been watching him since 2002. So a good chunk of change. And yeah, I felt like this is one of the best matches he's ever had. And I feel like this is a match, to your point, that he needed because I think some people forgot just how great Ray can be given the right opponent. And I don't think you're going to get a more right opponent for anybody than Prince Puma because, I mean, say what you will about his attitude. I mean, I certainly have, but I think Ricochet is definitely one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. The guy's insane. I will never take away from his ability ever. And yeah, this match, I thought it was fantastic. But again, continue because I just wanted to keep getting your perspective, given that you're looking at this with kind of a new appreciation.
Yeah, man. It's just the match itself was just so good, and Ray really did look like almost like his 1997 self. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
He looked really good here. He looked like he did in WCW when he was considered a cruiserweight before he came to WWE and bulked up to the point that like he was unrecognizable. Because to me, I think that people who bulk up to meet the WWE standards tend to, I don't want to say move poorly, but they move worse than they would otherwise.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And especially when you're a smaller guy like Ray, like the difference between Ray being like 5'6", 165, which is probably his natural size, and being like 5'6", 195, which is probably around what he was in WWE, it's huge, man. Like that those 30 pounds are the difference between being able to move like a luchador and having to move like a WWE superstar who thinks he's a luchador. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, between that and the stem cell therapy he got on his knees,
Dude,
between
right?
wear and tear.
Why are we not funding this?
Exactly. I mean, yeah, hell, me more than most. Like, I'm like, why the hell is this not, whatever? And Ray is just another testament to that. I mean, he was able to move with Puma, and Puma, my God, like, he's got the perfect look to me. His athleticism is on point, and I love that he's able to like tell a story in the match because for him this is about unseating Rey Mysterio. Ray said it best: "You're still a prince. I'm El Rey. Well, you know, in the words of Seth Rollins, like, well, what's the best way to ascend? Slay the king. And that's what Puma was looking to do. He was looking to slay the king. He was looking to beat Rey Mysterio. Hell, there's even one point that he does the 619 and he calls it like the 3-2-3. And so, yeah, like I just love the beats that this match hit, dude. I thought that these guys had a tremendous match. When you get to the outcome of Rey ultimately winning, because maybe Puma, you know, went to the well once too often, and Rey, being the crafty veteran, capitalized, and then he gets that Rana with just the snap and the pop at the end for the win. You know, people are like, did he need to win? Should Puma have won? Again, thinking about it narratively, I think it was the right call. But if this was in a vacuum and you're like, okay, and you do things more like the way WWE does them, I'd be like, oh, fuck no, the young guy should have gone over here. The future should have gone over. But in this case, I can tolerate, you know, I can make this concession. I can tolerate this decision given what we got. And it was still a brilliantly wrestled match, which again shows you why Ricochet is one of the best in the world right now. And Rey is going to go down as one of the greatest of all time, period. So
Yeah.
that's all I got to really say about that.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, Rey had a great showing here. Like you said, the stem cell therapy did him just a world of good. Puma, really, I felt like he shouldn't have lost, but knowing what happened in season 3, I don't know if you could have done that development or if it would have made sense had Puma won. So I think it was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, because you have to look at things from like the perspective of like it's an aggregate, right? Because he loses Conan, he loses his first Ultima Lucha main event along with the Lucha Underground title at the time, and then Ultima Lucha Dos.
And then it's like there was this glimmer of hope where for a period of time he had friends, he had his sort of a semi-brother / father / mentor figure in his life in Rey, and then because these like scumbags come along that stand for everything Rey is against, and they succeed despite that, Puma, it's almost like Puma loses his faith in Rey and in sort of the light path. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And he starts to turn a little bit to the dark side, but then like his ego gets the better of him and he really does kind of challenge Rey. And then by losing to Rey, not only has he effectively lost Conan and every championship and Rey as a friend / mentor, now he's also lost that a little bit of that ego. So he really does have nothing left to lose at this point, and that is when he starts turning to Vampiro in season 3 and turning to the dark side.
Yeah, I mean, this is the moment to me where the floor bottoms out for Puma and he loses himself. He's kind of like adrift in this void, and he's just like utterly without direction. And, you know, that whole moment where Rey leaves the ring to Puma, like, I know Rey meant it as an act of respect, but you could see the emotion on Puma's face. Like, I'm sure he was grateful for the match, and he's grateful for, you know, the believers in Rey and all that. But when you leave the loser with the ring, it's kind of like you're leaving them with the rubble of their own failure. Like, he's just looking around, he's like, I couldn't win this match. And the gravity of it is just bearing down on Puma's shoulders. And, well, we got what we did in season 3, and that's all I'm going to say about that for now. But, yeah, I mean, just the story in itself in this match and the way Puma, because he is the focus here, sold it, I thought was fantastic. Not much more I can say than that. And unless you do, we can get to all the crazy shit that happened now in these final few minutes of Ultima Lucha Dos.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first thing that happens after this match is over is Pentagon Dark showing back up and beating the ever-loving shit out of Vampiro.
Yeah. I mean, really the funniest part about this to me, and I still chuckled seeing it again, was Matt Striker being a casualty, just getting super kicked. Like, Pentagon Dark taking everybody out. But yeah, Pentagon Dark fucked Vampiro up. And that same barbed wire bet that cost him the Lucha Underground Championship, he used it on Vampiro. He opened him up, made him bleed like a stuffed pig. And I still get grossed out seeing Pentagon Dark licking the blood off of his hands. Oh, God. And then he gets on the mic and he essentially tells him, bro, like, you are no longer my teacher. You are no longer my master. I'm the master. And your blood, it feeds me because I'm Pentagon Dark and I have zero fear. Oh,
Porque
God.
yo soy Pentagon Dark and cero miedo.
Exactly. Yeah, all while he's just like, that blood, so delicious, feed me. Like, oh my God. Must have licked that goddamn hand like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, what did you think of this beatdown, man?
I mean, what is there to say? It was gross.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, hell, if that's your hot take on the issue, and I already gave my thoughts, then the camera pans to like Vampiro just lying there, bleeding, practically passed out, and then we cut to Cueto being escorted away. I gotta be honest, like I love this for the Sinister Smile, but man, like I was really hoping we'd pan to everybody like we did at the end of season 1, because I know how much you love those final 5 minutes, and I did too. But nope, Cueto is just the focus here. He gets loaded into the police vehicle. They're driving off, sirens blaring, the lights flashing, and I love though how Cueto works it, because 1 second his face will be illuminated, next it'll kind of go dark, again because the lights flickering and everything, and then we see. Right, the last few seconds, that Cueto smile, that, yeah, this ain't over, and I've got a plan. You think I'm the one in trouble? No, I'm still the one in a position of power here. And then it flashes to be continued, and that rounds out Ultima Lucha 2. So, brother, what did you think of this final scene here that we're left with?
Oh man, this is so haunting. It's great, man. I love it. It's one of those things where you see these, like, honestly, I think the lighting in that final scene was the coolest thing about it, in my opinion, because like you have all of these like red lights, and then like you also have the police lights flashing outside, and like the darkness inside this truck or van or whatever the hell it was that Cueto got put into, and then just the way the light hits his face, and it's almost like a flashing, like a strobe light action almost, because you barely see his face, and he just does this really slow, like probably took a good like 20 seconds for him to go from looking down almost at the ground, like he's in like some kind of shame, to looking right at the camera. And then within another 10 seconds, he goes from straight face to smiling. And it is just so haunting and horrifying. I loved it.
Yeah, it was so good. I have said repeatedly, and it's a claim that I think is still going strong all this time later. Again, I know Ultima Lucha 2 as an event in itself is very debatable, and I love a lively debate. But I think when we just look at what Lucha Underground, period does, the way they shoot and present their cinematics is second to none. I miss it. Hell, to be honest, we're probably not even really going to get a taste of that tonight, unfortunately, because, with it being all night long again, we're probably not going to get any cinematics. And I got to be honest, for as much as I adore Johnny Mundo, I'm going to miss it. My heart's going to feel that absence, because you see stuff like this, and it's just so well done. And yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. I love this. This was masterful. And yeah, just a great way to cap off season 2. If you really just think about it as, just going in to season 3, that's really what we're building towards. And I think they did that quite well. So I've got nothing else to say. That was Ultima Lucha 2 in the books. So partner, I'm going to hand it back to you for any concluding remarks, and you can take us home.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, I don't really have a ton to say. I hope that you guys are as looking forward to Lucha Underground Season 3, Episode 20, as I know we both are. And, yeah, we are just both super stoked. But more importantly than that, and I only say more importantly because it's in the more immediate future. It's not as important on the grand scheme of things, but more in the immediate future. In under 2 hours, in about an hour and 40 minutes from the time that I'm saying this right now, by the way, John, happy 420.
Thank you.
We will be going live. It's 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're on the West Coast, it's 3. Mountain Time, it's 4. Central Time, it's 5. UK Time, it's 11 p.m. 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be rewatching the original Lucha Underground Season 3 trailer and talking about things that have already happened and things that haven't happened yet that we have to look forward to in the second half of Season 3. And then we will also be watching and reacting to the Season 3B trailer, the Season 3 second half trailer, and breaking that down as well. We're hoping to keep that video under an hour, but we still are going to have a lot to say and a lot to talk about there, so that should be very exciting. And then, of course, tonight it starts over again, 8 p.m. Lucha Underground goes live, and so do we with live reactions. And then the show will end at 9, and then John and I will take a very brief break and be back at 9:15. So, guys, it is a Lucha Underground day, all day, beginning to end. We started at 3, and we'll probably close things up at like 10 or 10:30 tonight. So just Lucha Underground in your face all day today. Tomorrow, we will be doing our preview predictions for WWE Extreme Rules. I hope you're prepared for some rants in that, because they've been doing a horrible job of building certain things up, and it's supposed to be building up, but sometimes it feels like they're tearing down more than they're building up. And then the next bit of content that you'll get from us is Monday afternoon, same time as Lucha Underground Rewatch that it's been, at 3 p.m. We will be live reacting to the Best of Super Juniors Finals, which is a show that happens on this coming Saturday. And normally we'd like to get those in as early as possible, but we can't really do it Sunday because, Extreme Rules, which blows. But alas, we will be live reacting to Extreme Rules on Sunday, which I actually just forgot about because I said that your next bit of content was on Monday. It turns out it's on Sunday. Extreme Rules live reactions are still happening. I didn't just, delete them off the schedule. I just forgot about them because Raw is irrelevant. So, guys, we've got a pretty stacked day today, and then the next few days are going to be a lot of fun as well. But Lucha Underground, baby, 6 o'clock, less than 2 hours, about an hour and 37 minutes now. We will be going live for our Season 3 trailer review and Season 3B trailer reaction and analysis, and we will see you all there, so be sure that you stay tuned.